Okay, well, this is an interesting discussion we could have quickly. What would you say are like your favorite? Do you have favorite horror films or like horror films that you like? You know,
So, Alien.
yeah,
I mean, it's such a good film. That's
it
definitely
is
a horror film.
absolutely.
I mean, that is always my go-to because I really, really, really like that film because the characters, or at least the main character, and most of the characters, aren't
Well,
incredibly
yeah.
stupid.
Well, that's the great thing about Alien. I mean, I've it's been like what 8 years since I did that video review on YouTube, and
Yeah,
I couldn't come up with a criticism of it then. I still can't come up with one now. It's almost like a perfect film.
yeah,
But yeah, you're right. The characters are sort of what makes it so strong.
yeah,
Because firstly, there's not too many. There's like the perfect number of characters, but and they're all they're not, none of them are stupid. They all react in ways that are understandable for the situation, and like they're all so well characterized as well, and
yeah.
they're all different, but all established about equally as well. It doesn't just feel like in like other slasher films where it's like, oh, these are the ones which there's like the main character, the one which will die second to or the one that will die last, I guess, and then the rest is a buffet. In Alien, it's like here is the crew, and they each have a job, they each have a personality, they each have a role. They feel like characters rather than you know disposable monster fodder.
Yeah. They don't feel like they're there just to die, to have
Yeah,
a scary on screen death. Because, I mean, most of them don't
exactly.
even die on screen.
That's an interesting point, actually. Yeah.
Because, I mean, if you think about it, like, in modern horror films, like, most of the characters exist so the monster or the bad guy or whatever can kill them in a horrific way on screen to try and terrorize you that way. But
That's
for
the only.
me, Alien is so much more scary because it doesn't show you it. And again, with that the fear of the unknown, isn't it?
Well, I've just gone back for it. Only two of them actually die on off screen.
Off screen, okay.
Well, I mean, well, yeah. In terms of completely not, we don't see their demise,
Right.
and it's just implied. Most of them are quite rapidly edited, but they are on screen.
Okay. I mean,
But
that's
yeah,
fair. But yeah, you know what I mean.
I have such an encyclopedic knowledge of Alien. I literally just watched like the last hour of it in my head and like noted down which deaths are which.
Oh my god.
I love that film.
It's a fantastic film.
But so is that your one? Is that the
And
one
that's
good horror film you
the
know?
one thing that comes to mind. Obviously, Midsommar
Okay.
as well. Like, thinking about it,
Yeah.
again, more and more. I just like it more and more and more. Not only because I feel like there's a huge amount of untapped meme potential in that film, but also because just the way it makes you feel. No other film has really done that before. I feel
Right,
like,
Andy.
yeah.
I've got to make you a horror watch list.
Okay,
You're,
with
you're,
what?
you're tempting fate because I was talking about last week about horror. There's good horror, there's bad horror, which is just like boo, ah, and then there's
Yeah,
a good horror, which is all about atmosphere and creating a powerful sense of dread,
yeah,
like Midsommar.
yeah.
So I want to make you a list of powerful sense of dread horror films.
Okay,
It's gonna be like a substitute, well, not so, like a parallel series to Andrew's film education, Andrew's horror education.
great.
Shall I list some now?
Sure.
Okay. Well, okay. So off the top of my head, Hereditary we've discussed. You need to see.
Yeah,
Also, Annihilation.
yeah,
I do keep banging on it, but I think you will love it. And that's another film I think like Midsummer, which is all about atmosphere and just dreading every second on screen.
yeah.
Like, just this horrible tension throughout. The Witch, to some extent, not
I
quite on
do
the
really
same
want to see The
scale.
Witch, actually.
The
One
Witch
other
was
horror
fantastic.
film I've just remembered, actually.
Yeah,
A Quiet Place, or The Quiet Place, whatever it's called.
A Quiet Place.
A
Yeah,
Quiet
yeah,
Place.
that is good.
That is actually, again, one of my favourite films. Well, not of all time, but that's definitely one of my favourite horror films. Because
I think
the
in terms of
tension in that film is just unbelievably good.
the build up with the nail on the stairs is
Yeah,
fantastic.
yeah, like that is so good. Also, I really like the story about how it's a family and it's not just a bunch of stupid teenagers. And again, like
Yeah,
John Krasinski does everything he
and
can.
that they're actually well prepared.
Yeah, he's very well prepared.
Yeah.
He does everything he can to tackle it, and they still don't manage to do it through this series of bad things. Like it's very good.
Yeah.
I haven't
Okay.
seen The Exorcist, but Mark Kermode bangs on about how that's the best film ever made, so maybe I should.
Well, see, the thing is, I can't remember if I read the book first or watched the film first, but I read the book at any rate. And the thing is, and it's sort of the same with The Shining, which is another a horror film that's talked up a lot.
Yeah,
But the book is so much better than in The Exorcist than the film, I feel.
right.
So, I don't know. But I feel like a lot of characterization of the demon in The Exorcist was lost from the book, because there's a lot more nuance to it.
Yeah. I also have another horror film
Yeah,
that
go on.
I think is good. The Thing.
Yeah? Have you seen that now?
Yes,
Yeah.
I absolutely love that film. Again, like, oh my god, I love it. I don't know, it's just so good.
So, yeah.
Because that gives me,
it's,
that's the, like, again, like this sort of cosmic horror thing,
yeah.
which is great. And I just feel like it's a great horror film. It's a great action film. Kurt Russell's great. It's just really cool.
See, I have a strange relationship with The Thing, because I remember I rewatched it recently,
Yeah.
and I remember thinking, like, I felt like the pacing was really lopsided, because the first hour it's like it's all slow and all build up, and then it sort of all just goes, it cascades from like the hour mark onwards.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking like, oh, it should, build up then release then build up and release, rather than just do all build up and all release. But then I realised that's basically what Alien does.
Yeah.
So I then rewatched Alien the next day after having this thought, and it was fantastic.
Yeah.
So there's this weird thing where I've not worked out why The Thing doesn't grip me as much as I really want it to.
So, I don't know. I don't have that. I really like The Thing.
Yeah.
I really like it as well because of the use of like the props and the practical effects.
Yeah.
Is amazing. Like
The effects
so
are
good.
phenomenal.
And I just think like not having this CGI clusterfuck that's all in the dark and boring. It's like this insane dog tentacles, man jaw, head crab thing.
Have you heard about, there's the prequel from 2011?
Is that a prequel, is it?
Yeah.
I thought it was just a straight remake.
No, it explains what happens with the research team where the dog comes from in the beginning and they go and
Yes.
explore. It says what happens there.
Okay.
But so from what I've heard, they tried to recreated all the practical effects sort of similar with similar methods to the 82 one, because they all loved the film and they want to try and do it justice.
Yeah.
And then in the edit, the producers were like, nah, this looks like too dated or whatever, and they covered it all with CGI.
Oh, why?
Which is why it looks so trash in the final one. It looks like really cheap last minute CGI, because it was all practical effects that were just covered up.
Well, why didn't they do a practical effects cut?
There might be one that exists, I don't know. Maybe not. But like if you find behind the scenes stuff online, you can see like all the contraptions they built up, all these like, interesting sort of costumes and stuff, I suppose is the best way of to do a transformation sequences. And then it's just all covered up.
That's cool. Oh man. It's a great film.
But yeah, more. We should probably bring this section to an end. I feel we've been rambling for a while.
Yeah, we have.
But I'll just do at least one last film for you to watch: Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah, so I was just looking at that because again, that's something Mark Kermode says is one of the scariest films of all time. I do want to watch that film.
It's great because it's like there's not a drop of blood in it, but it's also, in particular, the last sort of, it must be maybe half hour, maybe 40 minutes, is so. It's not even necessarily atmosphere as such, but it's strange to really pin down why it's so freaky, but something about it is just so unnerving, so uncomfortable. Like you almost go into a trance watching it. It's really difficult to explain, but it's definitely worth a watch because it's in the same vein as Midsommar. It's all about that sort of like this dread and this sort of horrible sort of encompassing thing that sort of swallows you up.
Okay, I'll give it a watch, maybe.
You should.
Oh, see, also I'm like really reluctant to watch horror films because I'm a person.
Texas Chainsaw Massacre is fine. Again, like it's not
gore. Yeah, gore isn't the problem. Gore is fine. Like it's not that. It's the being spooked. I just don't enjoy being spooked.
I've just remembered my other recommendation. I'm just gonna squeeze this in.
Okay.
Wreck is. I've only watched it recently because quarantine. Lol. because it's about a quarantine.
Right.
It's so underrated. It is
Wreck.
probably the best execution of found footage I've ever seen, and it
How
makes me.
are you spelling that?
So square bracket REC close bracket.
Oh, rec as in record. Okay.
Yeah, you'll probably recognize it. It's quite famous, but it's
Oh, right.
that is another film that was just partially because of the found footage, but it's done so well that it feels so real and it gets under your skin because it's just so convincing.
1999, yeah.
No,
Or
2007.
Okay. Sorry, there was another one. The first result on Google was 1999.
There's a Rec from 1999. This I've got to look up now. There is an American remake of Rec called Quarantine on. I think it's on Netflix, but don't.
Okay. Okay. What language is it in?
Spanish.
Maybe I might have seen this actually.
Oh.
No, I don't think so.
I feel like you'd know if you've seen it because it. I still think about it.
Okay, maybe not then.
But it's like without spoiling.
Yeah.
Because I do little I record my own little audio reviews now when I finish a film just to sort of get my thoughts down. And I did it with Rec, and it was like late at night, and I had to keep pausing and sort of listening because I was like, it made me scared of the dark again, which apparently isn't a very difficult thing to do.
Oh my god, everything does, yeah.
But like I kept pausing and just listening, so I'm like, did I hear something? Is there something out there? Is someone just gonna burst through my door?